And it felt good.
It felt good.
I shouldn't have taken advantage.
What?
We should go.
Isn't that dangerous?
Oh, you can be killed. If anybody's uncomfortable with that, you know where the door is. I understand that sounds provocative, but it's true. All right, kids. It's showtime.
We were looking to buy some gas.
We also wanted to get directions.
Yeah, we're looking for, what's it called?
Tillerman Road.
Yesterday, when we set fire to that place, all that chaos, the flames, in that moment, I enjoyed it. Oh my God, that was torture.
Hey.
Oh, all I could think about was how I'd rather be drawing you.
Well, I'm sorry to interfere with your concentration.
Let's talk to my brother. Growing up in Chicago, first of all, how was that?
That shit was rough.
What was it?
I mean, that was the 80s crack era Chicago. I mean, I left in junior high because this shit was wild, and my mom wanted me to survive it. But it was real. I mean, I'm so grateful for it.
What happens when a beloved TV doctor becomes one of Hollywood's most polarizing voices? Jesse Williams didn't just play a surgeon on television. He wielded his platform like a scalpel, cutting through Hollywood's comfortable silence. But behind the awards and the activism lies a story far more complicated than any Grey's Anatomy plotline, and what we discovered about his personal battles. That's where things get really messy. Born August 5th, 1981, in Chicago during the height of the crack epidemic, Jesse Wesley Williams grew up navigating two worlds that rarely intersected. His father, African-American with Seminole ancestry, and his Swedish mother created a household where racial identity wasn't just discussed, it was dissected, analyzed, and understood as survival. Chicago in the 80s wasn't kind to anyone, but Williams remembers it as foundational. His parents divorced when he was in junior high, prompting a jarring move to Massachusetts, from an all-black neighborhood to an almost entirely white suburb.
I moved from Chicago to Massachusetts. That was my parents got divorced. My mom moved to a different art school, and I got a whole lot of family in New England. I think she just wanted to be closer to family.
The transition was brutal. Suddenly, the kid who'd never thought twice about his racial identity became that black kid overnight. But here's where Williams' story takes an unexpected turn. While struggling to fit in at Moses Brown, a private Quaker school in Rhode Island, he didn't retreat. He fought back. After beating up a student who used a racial slur against a girl, Williams faced the school's disciplinary committee.
Before we started, I got in some trouble acting out, and I beat up a kid that called a girl in my school, and then had to go to the disciplinary committee and try my case, which is a very cool system.
Instead of just defending himself, he lobbied for something unprecedented, an African-American literature class. The class got approved. Even more shocking, the kid he'd fought enrolled in it voluntarily.
Fought for, that we had advocated for. Yeah. We got our own, we got African-American literature class, and I walked into the class on the first day, and he was sitting there. He had volunteered, he had signed up to be in that class.
That moment crystallized something essential about Williams' approach to activism. Confrontation paired with education, anger channeled into institutional change. At Temple University in Philadelphia during the mid-90s, Williams immersed himself in a cultural renaissance. The roots were exploding. Jill Scott was emerging. The city pulsed with a hip-hop consciousness that would shape his worldview forever.
The roots were taking off. Erica, Jazzy Fat Nasties, Common, Black Star, everybody was there. Everybody was there. I was there for all that, Soulquarians, D'Angelo, there was just like this renaissance. Free shows everywhere, every night.
But Williams wasn't chasing entertainment dreams. After graduating, he became a high school teacher in North Philadelphia, working in schools where metal detectors were standard and students brought real-world trauma into every classroom. He had students with loaded guns, students with babies, kids who'd been written off by a system designed to fail them. Teaching African-American history to students who'd never seen themselves reflected in curriculum became Williams' first form of activism.
I'm a history teacher, right? So I'm biased. I love history. But we have been separated from our history. But our history cannot be limited to subordination.
He wasn't just teaching dates and facts. He was reconstructing stolen narratives, showing black students that their history didn't begin with enslavement. And then came the pivot no one saw coming. While working as a bartender and server at New York's Soho Grand Hotel in the early 2000s, Williams juggled law firm jobs and barely paying acting gigs.
I was working at law firms in New York, and I hit up an old agent, an old commercial agent, to see if he could put me on just to try to really act.
Manager Heidi Fahey remembers hiring him as a busboy and immediately sensing something different. That instinct proved prophetic. In 2005, Williams booked his first major role in The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2.
Guessing you're a virgin?
Pardon me?
To figure drawing, I mean. You look a little nervous.
He literally ran from the Soho Grand to the audition during his shift, got the part, and returned to work the same day.
I ran over to this, I ran down West Broadway, cross Canal. I was not that far down. And I went and I had this audition. The executives had flown in, Deborah Martin Chase had flown in from LA. And I had this audition. It went really well. And I booked the movie.
The movie wouldn't release for over a year, and Williams needed the money. His early Hollywood years read like a catalog of typecasting trauma. His first 7 auditions, all variations of Black Guy Robbing White People, Brooklyn's Finest, 2009, The Cabin in the Woods, 2012, even small TV spots. Williams kept getting cast as criminals and threats.
I'm going through. And we'll just drive. And there's got to be another road, another way out of here.
That won't work.
Then came 2009. ABC held a diversity showcase, a program specifically designed to give non-white actors access to opportunities they'd otherwise never see.
I got a small agency and they sent me to this. ABC did a diversity showcase. They make a little spot where they'll let non-white actors get a shot.
Williams, with 0 formal acting training, bombed audition after audition. But the network saw something. They kept giving him chances. Years later, that patience paid off when Shonda Rhimes cast him in Grey's Anatomy.
So you're ditching us.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I saved you, so anything after this is really gonna feel like a letdown anyway.
Originally slated for just 2 episodes in season 6, 2009, Williams, Dr. Jackson Avery, brilliant, complicated, dealing with his own class and racial dynamics, resonated immediately. 2 episodes became 10. 10 became a series regular contract. By the time Williams left in 2022 after 12 years and 270 episodes, Jackson Avery had become one of television's most nuanced portrayals of Black professional excellence.
What?
Because if you're serious about this whole re-virginizing thing, that means that the next guy that you sleep with is probably gonna be your husband.
But here's what most people don't know. During his entire Grey's Anatomy run, Williams continued teaching, continued organizing, continued showing up to protest. In 2014, when Michael Brown was killed in Ferguson and the Black Lives Matter movement exploded into national consciousness, Williams was on the ground.
Globally and on a national level, you got to use your voice if you expect to get results. And nobody's ever gotten respect. No community or people has ever gotten respect in this country without demanding it.
While his peers stayed silent, Williams got loud, uncomfortably loud, inconveniently loud. He marched in Ferguson. He organized in Florida. He used his platform not for self-promotion, but for uncomfortable truth-telling about police violence, systemic racism, and America's selective amnesia about its own history.
Not giving away their vote, not just handing it off just because you're a Democrat. You know, these are things that, Ferguson, it changed the entire map of their structure in terms of policing.
Then came June 26, 2016, the night that would change everything. Accepting the BET Humanitarian Award, Williams delivered a 6-minute speech that would be replayed, analyzed, and weaponized by both admirers and critics for years.
Thank you, BET. Thank you, Nate Parker, Harry, and Debbie Allen for participating in that. Before we get into it, I just want to say, I brought my parents out tonight. I just want to thank them for being here, for teaching me.
He talked about black magic that isn't new but is exploited and appropriated. He referenced ghettos as government-designed traps.
Called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold.
He called out the invention called whiteness as a tool of division and control. The backlash was immediate and vicious. A Change.org petition demanding ABC fire Williams from Grey's Anatomy collected thousands of signatures, calling his speech racist hate speech against law enforcement and white people.
No, we're not. We're buying this. Like, we're responding to this. We're, I think when when I talked about listening to right-wing radio back then, I was watching, what I do remember was watching the right move so far to the right.
Death threats flooded in. Williams had to hire 24-hour armed security. People threatened his children.
And spoiled. And it remains in the realm of the absurd until people start catering to it.
Yep.
And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
But Shonda Rhimes, she tweeted 8 simple words that became legendary. Boo don't need a petition. Williams kept his job. The controversy kept building. What critics missed, or deliberately ignored, was that Williams wasn't creating division. He was naming what already existed. He was refusing to pretend that America's racial hierarchy was ancient history instead of current policy. And he was doing it while Hollywood expected him to stay grateful, stay quiet, stay in his lane. In 2017, Williams executive produced Stay Woke, the Black Lives Matter movement for BET, a documentary that contextualized resistance not as disruption, but as survival. He worked with original BLM founders Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, helping translate grassroots organizing into mainstream consciousness. Behind the scenes though, Williams' personal life was fracturing. His marriage to real estate broker Aaron Drake Lee, his college sweetheart and partner since they met at Temple University, ended in 2017. They'd married in 2012 and had 2 children, daughter Sadie, born December 2013, and son Maceo, born October 2015. What followed became one of Hollywood's most acrimonious divorce battles. The initial child support order, over $100,000 per month. Williams fought it, citing his reduced income after leaving Grey's Anatomy in 2021. The court eventually reduced payments to approximately $6,413 monthly, but the financial disputes paled compared to custody warfare. Williams repeatedly accused Drake Lee of gatekeeping, blocking FaceTime calls, providing false information about the children's activities, preventing them from visiting him during his 2022 Broadway run in Take Me Out.
The 43-year-old says Aaron would often weaponize access to the children, including disrupting his FaceTime calls with the kids and excluding him from their after-school activities.
In March 2025, Williams was granted sole legal custody over healthcare decisions after alleging Drake Lee aggressively confronted their daughter's orthodontist and blocked recommended dental treatment. Drake Lee fired back, claiming the court violated her parental rights without due process. In a bizarre legal filing, she asserted their children were protected property within a private trust, language legal observers compared to sovereign citizen ideology. The battle exposed how even progressives struggle with power, control, and co-parenting across rage. Williams, who'd spoken so eloquently about dismantling oppressive systems, found himself accused of wielding legal and financial advantages to dominate a woman he'd once loved. But Williams kept creating. In 2022, he made his Broadway debut in the revival of Take Me Out, appearing fully nude on stage, a choice that sparked its own controversy but earned critical acclaim and a Tony Award for Best Revival. He began directing Grey's Anatomy episode, transitioning behind the camera with the same intensity he'd brought to activism.
The episode we have another episode I directed is this Thursday.
Congratulations,
Thank
man.
you.
Really,
Thank
that's
you.
like a big step.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it maybe more than acting.
You enjoyed maybe more than acting?
In 2024, Williams starred in and executive produced Hotel Costiera for Amazon Prime Video, an action-adventure series shot entirely in Italy where he plays Daniel Garcia, a former Marine turned luxury hotel fixer. It's his first lead role in a major streaming series filmed entirely in Italian, Spanish, and French with an international cast.
Growing up as a kid, I like action movies, right? Running around kicking some ass, beautiful places, 80s, 90s shows. So it's about this guy, Daniel DeLuca, is a former Marine, born Italian, but grew up in the U.S., black, white, Italian, American.
He also became a founding investor in Bro, a mobile app and keyboard that curates GIFs and digital content specifically representing Black and brown people. A small but meaningful intervention in who gets to be visible in digital communication.
It's a mobile app by itself, but it's also a keyboard. You could use that joint on like Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all those things, and it's curated the way we talk, the way you feel. However you're feeling, there's a category for you and you can get.
Then there's the Kenzo campaign. In 2017, Williams partnered with the French luxury brand alongside Tracy Ellis Ross and Kelsey Lu for a short film directed by Khalil Joseph that explored Black identity, style, and self-determination through fashion.
No, don't say anything. Just call me if you see him. Pick up, Jay, come on. No, he's got his car. He drives himself. He doesn't want to wait.
In 2018, Williams worked with MedMen, America's largest cannabis company, on a provocative Spike Jonze-directed commercial, where he played every character in a historical journey through America's relationship with marijuana, from forest cultivation on slave plantations to mass incarceration for possession to the current corporate cannabis boom that's making white entrepreneurs millions, while Black people remain locked up for the same plant.
The good old days were actually living hell on earth for us. They're the good old days for y'all. George, Africans used to be forced to grow marijuana. It's about just by having conversations in a space you wouldn't expect it to do, which, and originally this was intended to be the first legalized marijuana commercial on television. Wow. It's supposed to be in your living rooms.
Critics question why Williams would partner with a corporate cannabis company. His answer? Decriminalization is a social justice issue. If America won't enforce drug laws fairly, and it absolutely won't, then legalization becomes harm reduction.
But it was social justice, and it's something that we need to decriminalize because we're not adjudicating it fairly. We're not enforcing these laws fairly at all. I know in the suburbs, it's boys will be boys, kids will be kids.
As of 2025, Jesse Williams' net worth sits at approximately $12 million, though ongoing support obligations and legal fees from his divorce continue affecting his liquid assets. He shifted from being Hollywood's highest-paid TV doctor to someone strategically building a career around creative control and meaningful projects. Currently, Williams is developing multiple projects through his production company, a documentary series about jazz and the birth of cool, a basketball-centered drama, and comedy projects that explore Black life beyond trauma narrative. He's also reportedly in talks for a civil rights biopic focused on a figure whose story hasn't yet been told on screen.
With our production company, and the idea was twofold. Untold stories. There's a lot of, we get so little access to our own history.
But here's what makes Williams' journey so compelling. He's never apologized. Not for the BET speech, not for Ferguson, not for using his platform to make people uncomfortable. In an industry that demands Black entertainers perform gratitude for access, Williams keeps choosing disruption. Ask him about critics who call him divisive or angry, and he'll redirect the conversation. Why isn't complacency considered divisive? Why isn't silence about police brutality considered anger? His relationship with his parents remains foundational. His mother of Swedish descent and his African-American father with Seminole ancestry built a home where racial consciousness wasn't optional. It was required. Williams credits his father's newspaper clipping assignments and his mother's unwavering support for teaching him that education is resistance. Through all the controversy, one thing becomes clear. Jesse Williams refuses to be just one thing, not just an actor, not just an activist, not just a father fighting for his children. He's building something messier and more honest, a career that doesn't separate art from advocacy, that doesn't ask permission before speaking truth. And whether Hollywood is ready for that version of Jesse Williams doesn't really matter, because he's already moved on to the next fight, the next project, the next uncomfortable conversation that needs to be had. He's never been the type to wait for permission or approval, not from network executives, not from social media critics, not from anyone who thinks activism should come with an expiration date or a more palatable tone. Jesse has spent his entire career proving that you don't have to choose between the art and the message, between the spotlight and the struggle. He's shown us that you can be a heartthrob on primetime television and still show up at protests. You can direct films, produce documentaries, teach in classrooms, and refuse to let anyone reduce you to just one thing. The industry tried to box him in as Dr. Jackson Avery, the pretty face, the romantic lead, the safe choice. But Jesse Williams was never interested in being safe. He was interested in being necessary. And whether that makes casting directors nervous or social media uncomfortable is irrelevant to him. Because at the end of the day, Jesse knows what so many people in Hollywood forget. Fame is temporary, but impact is permanent. Awards gather dust, but the conversations you start, the minds you change, the systems you challenge, that's the work that outlives you. So no, Hollywood doesn't have to be ready for Jesse Williams. He's already building his legacy with or without their approval.